Hello, good evening and welcome to Breaking Views on NDTV. I am Ankit Tyagi. Two important stories. Of course, one important discussion on what is happening in Karnataka, because the question that we'll be asking today, once again, the corruption taint. A day before Prime Ministers meet in the state, protests have taken place in Karnataka. Can the Bharatiya Janata Party government there do anything to remove this albatross of corruption around their neck? Just 4 months left in the state election. That is going to be our top focus. We'll also talk about another gentleman from Karnataka, from Bengaluru South. That's Mr. Tejasvi Surya, firebrand Bharatiya Janata Party leader, controversial as well. And he was trying very hard to keep lid on a story which the civil aviation minister, his colleague, has now completely spilled in front of the world. We'll tell you about how this gentleman is being treated differently from you and I. All right, let's just, ladies and gentlemen, start with my top focus at this evening on Breaking Views. 40% cut money scandal refuses to die in Karnataka and is proving to be quite a challenge. Rather, an albatross around the Bharatiya Janata Party's neck. Just 4 months ahead of the crucial elections in the state of Karnataka, huge protests today took place in Bengaluru against the Chief Minister Basavaraj Bommai's government by the Karnataka Contractors Association, reviving the corruption taint. And the timing, ladies and gentlemen, couldn't have been more embarrassing for the Karnataka Chief Minister, as Prime Minister Narendra Modi is going to be in the state tomorrow. First, just listen in. These visuals which we are playing right now is of the Contractors Association. It takes a lot from people, those who are working with the government, to in fact come out and make these allegations. What they said during the protest.
Apart from the corruption, our advocate is going to answer all that, because all the documents we have submitted to advocate today, and he is going to submit to the court. And apart from this, 25,000 crores of money pending there, and local contractors is not getting it work. In all this one, we are protecting it.
So very quickly, before we start the discussion, let me refresh your memory of what has happened as far as this case is concerned. What is this 40% cut money scandal that we are talking about? Now, it happened, in fact, it's an ongoing saga for the last 2 years. 2 contractors die by suicide in the state of Karnataka. One of them, a BJP, in fact, worker. Contractor Patil accused Minister Ishwarappa of asking for 40% cut money and before even he starts the work. He died by suicide in April 2022, and then the Contractor Association wrote a letter to the Prime Minister which created a huge political furor in the state. Now, another contractor, Prasad, died by suicide in December 2022 after his dues were not cleared, and the reason was because he was not able to pay up those, people who were asking for commission or the cut money or corruption as far as the government contracts are concerned. Now, Chief Minister Basavaraj Bommai has ruled out political involvement in the suicides. The BJP keeps defending that there is no corruption as far as Karnataka is concerned. And at the same time, they have had one minister, Ishwarappa, resigning on the same charges. Now, contractors protest against the alleged corruption once again, and the contractors allege harassment by the BJP ministers. They've been saying, the Contractor Association has been saying, that the BJP MLAs, ministers and leaders are asking for 40% commission in government projects, ladies and gentlemen. In an election state, which is, just 4 months down, there's going to be election in Karnataka. This has come as a huge ammunition for the opposition. And can this be the biggest, in fact, turnaround as we go forward in the state of Karnataka? Now, BJP is facing serious corruption charges in Karnataka. Congress alleges that there is cash payment to Karnataka journalists by the state government. Corruption charges have been levelled against Ishwarappa, the senior leader who has now been sidelined, his son Vijayendra as well. And Contractor Association, as I told you earlier, has alleged that the minister was asking 40% kickbacks. Recruitment scam in education is also something that opposition is raking up. Is this going to be the biggest problem, image issue, and also what people in fact are facing at this moment for the Bharatiya Janata Party? That's the big question that we are debating or discussing, in fact, this evening. Let me very quickly go across and introduce my guests this evening, those who are joining me to discuss this topic. We have Pramila Nesargi of the Bharatiya Janata Party, Ishwarappa Mahadev of the Congress also joining us. Pooja Prasanna, senior editor of News Minute, is also with us. Thank you so much to all three of you ladies for joining me this evening. Before I get to the political commentary, Pooja, I want to understand from you the timing of this protest a day before the Prime Minister comes in to Karnataka. How damaging is it for Chief Minister Basavaraj Bommai himself?
Well, very, very damaging and also embarrassing, because let's not forget that it was a corruption charge that brought down his predecessor the last time he came to power. Ishwarappa had to resign, as chief minister much earlier, because he faced serious charges in the mining scam. So the chief minister currently is also trying to brazen it out. He'd asked the contractors to bring forth the proof against the ministers and the legislators. And in fact, they say they have proof against at least 14 legislators, 5 ministers, audio clips, video clips, as well as documents to prove that they were demanding bribes, and bribes have in fact been paid. Okay. Yesterday, in fact, I spoke to one contractor who went on record to say that in 2 to 3 years, he's paid over 90 lakhs to one legislator of the BJP as bribes. So given the seriousness of the allegations that are being leveled, it will be very difficult for Basavaraj Bommai to justify why he has not taken any action so far.
And that's the question, Pramila ji, I want to ask of you. I mean, there are serious allegations. Not once, they have been for the last 2 years continuously been leveled against your government. The fact is, ma'am, instead of a serious inquiry or people, in fact, being booked for these corruption charges, the government in Karnataka is not doing anything. What happens to the Prime Minister's pledge, na khaunga, na khane dunga?
I just want to know what's written, when they have written. What is it that they are wanting from Prime Minister? So far as the centre is concerned, we are so proud of Nitin Gadkari, who has been doing wonderful job all over the India, NHA, and then how he has been controlling the quality work. Now coming to Karnataka, what's the allegation? Mr. Kempanna and others, association stating 40% commission. Whom they have given, when they have given, now they are coming out with the theory, yes, we have the audio record, we have the records, we are going to give. When are they going to give? Muniratham has already filed a suit for defamation. Have they filed the said documents?
But why can't the government of Karnataka, ma'am, start with an SIT? Maybe ask these people to produce, give their proof in front of an SIT and prove these charges.
Allow me to speak, I'll tell you. Yes, let him prove. I know how we will prove the charges. We know the burden is on him, defamation. When he has done it, how he must come under an exception. Does he come under an exception class under the defamation? Let us see that in the court. That apart, what is it that these contractors are arguing about?
Okay.
Has any one of these contractors from this Contractors Association have worked? I just want to know from them. I want an answer from them. None of the contractors.
But ma'am, it was a BJP worker itself who was a contractor who committed suicide, which prompted, in fact, this entire controversy. But Ishwarappa Mahadev, you are hearing Ms. Nesargi, in fact, speaking at this moment. She's, in fact, putting the onus on the complainants to prove their complaint.
Good evening, Ankit. I think first and foremost, you cannot take for granted that the Contractors Association, the contractors in there, they depend on government contracts for their livelihood. If they have come out to speak out against the government at the fear of being blackballed or completely ostracized from their future and their work and their livelihood, you understand the severity of it. And if people have also committed suicide about it, it is not a joke. And you can talk about the burden of proof and who has to prove it. But let me just ask Ms. Pramila Nesargi today that if you believe completely that you have nothing to hide, why is it that you will not allow a probe? One. And second, a defamation suit, is not about the idea of some actual wrongdoing. Rather, it is to suppress Mr. Kempaiah. And let's give you a few statistics. Right. Mr. Tippareddy basically is a sitting MLA, and an audio leak has shown you that over 90 lakhs has been given out. 5 ministers, 14 MLAs are basically in this net. The Contractors Association has given all documents to a lawyer, and after Shivratri, they have said one by one they're going to release these documents. The BJP government that claims to be a government of difference cannot sit here indifferently dismissing claims of corruptions against them and washing their hands-off and abdicating responsibility.
And also, let me just add to this, and Ms. Nesargi, I would like you to respond to this. If there was nothing to hide, if nobody was involved, why was Mr. Ishwarappa made to resign? I mean, then what was the need of this kind of a pressure on him to give up his cabinet post?
Certainly not. Ishwarappa resigned because there is a complaint against him. In fairness, he said, I shall not continue as a minister so long as the inquiry is going. Once the inquiry has been exonerated, now he is demanding. What is wrong? Lal Bahadur Shastri also resigned then. Similarly, Ishwarappa resigned. He has done a good job. Let us now come back to the question asked by us. What is the fun in saying we have handed over the record to the liar? Why, madam, could you not place it before the public domain? Why you are now hiding? What is it that you are hiding? You are not
I'm finding it very confusing. I'm finding it very confusing. If there are these serious charges, ma'am, why isn't the government initiating an inquiry? That's okay. Hold on. One by one, ladies. Pooja, just come in on this.
Yeah.
The BJP seems to be very aggressively trying to ward off this entire controversy by saying that nothing has happened. There is no need for an inquiry. Isn't this, in a way, just putting themselves in a quicksand kind of a situation where the more they try and say we won't inquire, their image takes a beating?
Absolutely, and I just want to put this in context. The defamation case that Pramila Nesargi is speaking about, acting on that, the police arrested several members of the association, including the president, who's 82 years old. They arrested at around 4 p.m., produced them in front of the magistrate at around 12 midnight, and then ensured that over the weekend, they are kept in custody. So these kind of arm twisting tactics are being used. So it takes a lot for these contractors to come out and put these audio clips in public domain, like Ms. Nesargi is asking them to do, because when they did actually do that, there was a legislator who went and filed a defamation case. So they are being kind of cornered from all sides.
You should respond to that, Ms. Nesargi.
I just want to finish this one point.
Go
They
ahead.
say that, order a judicial inquiry.
Can I
We will
answer?
produce all evidence that we have in front of a retired judge, preferably a retired Supreme Court judge, because we have lost faith that anybody who works under this government will conduct a free and fair investigation. And I think
Ms.
that's
Ms. Nesargi, it's also very important.
Can
The
I
fact
answer?
is, ma'am, listen to me. The fact is that when a complaint of this nature is made, a suicide note has been written by a contractor who was a BJP worker. No questioning was done as far as your leaders are concerned. But as soon as that defamation case is filed, you round up everybody who has been making these complaints and you put them behind bars, you start harassing them.
No way. Will you please hear me 2 minutes? I will answer every question. You know the procedure of taking a tender. Tender is called for online. Tenders are accepted online. Publication is made. Thereafter, work contract is given. Thereafter, once the work is over, they have to inspect the land. The MB register must be inspected and certificate must be given.
Okay.
Then thereafter, executive engineer, then it goes to the accounts department. No MLA, no MP, no minister will have a hand. Once it goes to the department, finance department,
But ma'am,
again, they
the
will
finance
check up
department
the
of
BR.
Karnataka
That is called the
has
book
in
register.
fact gone on
Once
record
it is
to say there are
certified,
about
money goes to them
2,500 crore rupees
online.
worth.
Please
In
hear
fact,
me.
money which
Money goes to
is
them
pending
online.
as far as
They
these
don't go to
contractors
any
are
other
concerned.
person. Let them show. All these
Let
contractors
them show.
have taken the
Aishwarya
money.
Mahadev, in an election year, this of course has come as a shot in the arm for the Congress party. But what from here? I mean, the Congress party has been making these allegations. You started that Pay CM campaign as well. But how much is the Congress party from here going to help as far as these contractors are concerned? And what can the Congress party now do next?
Ankit, very simply, the Congress party is going to ensure that the agenda for these elections are going to be development or the lack thereof at the hands of this BJP government. While we are pushing forward our positive agenda, whether it is 200 free units of electricity or the money that we want to give women of this state, we are also focusing completely on the idea that this state is mired by corruption. This is not just contractors. There are teachers associations. There are seers of religious mutts. You have BBMP contractors saying it's 50% commission. And mind, the BBMP now is broke, that they can't even pay the contractors at hand here. You have corruption in goshalas when they talk about the Gomata with so much reverence.
Okay.
You see corruption in every single aspect. The Congress party is not the only voice here talking about corruption. The people of this state are sick and tired, and as activatory and as angry as the BJP wants to be, they cannot wash away the truth. And Prime Minister Modi, like they thought in Himachal, would cover up for the deficiencies of their state chief minister, is not going to work in Karnataka.
Pooja, how much of an impact is this issue going to have on the elections? Because let's be very frank about it. In the end, it's nuts and bolts. Everything works for the election. So is the Congress party using this to catapult themselves as far as the, the next government is concerned, or corner the BJP government? How much of an impact will it have?
The impact will be huge. In fact, if you've seen the Congress campaign over the last few months, they are not speaking about communal issues. They are focusing on corruption because that's what will have an impact on the voters' mind as well. The association in itself has over 1 lakh members across the state, right? But also keep in mind the sector in itself, the vendors, the material dealers. You're looking at huge number of people who voted for BJP. Many of them have come and said, I used to be a BJP voter, and today I feel terrible to say that I have gotten caught in this entire web of corruption with the BJP government. So it will definitely be, as far as optics are concerned, it will be terrible for the BJP, but also on ground, this will have a huge impact because this association has presence across Karnataka in villages, in towns and in cities.
Ms. Nasargi, there is still time. There is still about 4 months to go as far as the elections are concerned. Shouldn't there be a course correction, ma'am? Even if you believe that nothing has happened, your government is absolutely clean. Shouldn't the government take proactive action to at least make sure that their image is not tainted?
If we want just a minute, 2 minutes, 2 seconds. I want to tell you, I want an inquiry to be held. I am not satisfied with what these things are going on. What is PSR company? What is Uppar company? Who are those people? How these contracts are done? Now let us open contractors scandal gate. Let it be open and let there be an inquiry held. Who are these contractors?
But who will order this inquiry, ma'am?
Where are the bribe?
Ma'am, but who will order this inquiry?
Are they to be arrested? Let there be an inquiry.
But who will order the inquiry, ma'am? You are in part. Won't you have to initiate that inquiry?
Let the people of Karnataka know who these people are.
Okay.
Yes.
Aishwarya Mahadev, while the government seems to be at this moment riddled with so many issues, it's not that for the Congress party, it's just going to be, pick this issue and in fact reach the next government or change the next government. Already with factionalism and other issues, the Congress party is also dealing with a lot. Does the Congress party has the bandwidth to, in fact, make this a people's issue, connected with the people, that, in fact, ensures political dividends?
Ankit, I think the Congress party has been very successful in taking campaigns to the ground, and irrespective of what differences or dissent and whatnot that you may talk about, the Congress is very focused on coming to power, and the leadership is something that will be decided later. And I think every one of our leaders have made that very, very clear. The Congress is taking this to the ground. We're doing a bus yatra all across the state, every single district with the leadership, talking about their local issues, hearing them out, working on our manifesto, what we're promising the people. And Ankit, let me just tell you that it takes a special skill to sit in government, turn around and blame everybody but yourself for the failure of governance in this state. And I really, really applaud the gumption with which that is being done, but it's an insult to the people of my state when somebody from part of the government actually does that, and they should be ashamed of themselves.
Last word. Pooja, I want to give you the last word on this, and I just want to understand from you, is there still scope? Is there still scope where the BJP, at least in terms of optics, can do something to change the image, to take this albatross of corruption across their neck?
Yes, there still is scope, but yes, time is running out, and it doesn't look like, at least here in the state level, they have any willingness, because even today when there was a huge protest in the heart of the city, the representatives of the government who came and spoke, they are very confrontational. They seem to be in no mood to actually address the concern, but instead place the blame on everybody else but their own people, their own legislators, their own ministers. There is no assurance given of a free probe so far, which is probably the first step. So it will take a lot of effort, but yes, perhaps there is still time to salvage the situation for the BJP.
Thank you, ladies, for joining me at this moment.
Why you have not been going?
On this discussion. We'll leave it there, but the fact remains that for the political party, which is right now just heading into an election, to have your head in the sand like an ostrich and say that everything is hunky-dory won't work. There are people on the ground, and the government possibly will have to take proactive measures to ensure that they get a sense of justice. Thank you so much for joining me this evening on Breaking Views. Let's just talk about another Bharatiya Janata Party leader right now, Mr. Tejasvi Surya. Something happened a month back, and Mr. Surya tried very, very hard to ensure that it remains under wraps. But today his senior colleague Jyotiraditya Scindia came out and more or less confirmed that the incident which we are talking about, and I'll tell you what the incident was, did involve the firebrand Bharatiya Janata Party leader, who's not new to any controversy. So first, listen in to Mr. Jyotiraditya Scindia after a month by being probed by the media, in fact coming out and acknowledging, giving us a verification that it was indeed Tejasvi Surya who in fact was involved in that incident which took place on a flight in Chennai, in fact, just a month back. Listen into first what Mr. Jyotiraditya Scindia, Civil Aviation Minister, said on this.
It's important not to be circumspect in terms of the issue, but look at the facts. The facts are that the door did open by mistake while the plane was on the ground. All the checks were taken, and after that only the plane was allowed to take off. And he also said sorry for it himself. So.
He said sorry, bol to diya sorry, get over it. But I just wanted to understand if it would be the same case, if this situation would have come up because of any other, because a common man, you and I. But let me first tell you what happened. So Mr. Tejasvi Surya was in fact on a flight, and he was going from Chennai, in fact, and he was seated on an emergency door, next to the emergency door. His seat was next to the emergency door. Now the crew was giving him a demo. It was an 80-hour flight. BJP leader Tejasvi Surya, he opened the emergency door. I mean, I'm sure many of you would be flying day in, day out. How many, when you are getting a demo, would try and see, let me just pull this lever and see how it works? Possibly that is what Mr. Surya wanted to do. Later, he apologized, in fact gave a written apology. His seat was changed. Then Indigo said in a statement that checks were carried out after the door was opened. Indigo also said the flight was delayed by over 2 hours. Everybody was deplaned. Elderly gentlemen, people using assistance, wheelchair, everybody had to be deplaned. And then, of course, the plane could take off to its destination. Aviation Minister today said that it was an honest mistake. It just happened, and he apologized. But just think of it. If it was not Tejasvi Surya, the BJP MP, would any other person not have faced some sort of penal action? You've recently heard of the case, right, where somebody went up and urinated on another passenger. He's in police custody. I'm not saying that the both of them are same gravity, but anything that happens on an aircraft has some sort of consequences. Was Mr. Surya only let off because he is, a BJP MP? And he's not, this is not a new controversy for him. He's controversy's favorite child. Remember in 2019 when Mr. Surya tweeted, "Dread the day women reservation becomes a reality in Parliament." Later he deleted it. Thought that it would be politically not correct. But well, it shows your mindset. On CA and RC, he said only puncturewalas and illiterates are criticizing it. 2020, Mughal Raj will return if majority community is not vigilant. This is a young man, educated young man that we are talking about. December 2021, there should be ghar wapsi of all those who left Hinduism. So he keeps making these remarks. In the end, I'll rather remind Mr. Tejasvi Surya of what the Prime Minister said yesterday at the concluding session of the Bharatiya Janata Party National Executive Meeting. Refrain from making unnecessary remarks. It might give you some 15 seconds of fame on television, but it really brings your character down, sir. And if you have done something, why hide? Come out. If you said you apologize, you should have the courage to come and in fact accept your mistake and make it out and just speak about it in public. Well, that's all the time that we have in this edition of Breaking News, ladies and gentlemen. News and updates will continue on NDTV. Thank you so much. Good night.